How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to another episode on the South Stand View. Just before we get into this one, as always, please make sure you're smashing that like button. Please make sure that you are subscribing to the channel if you are brand new. We're almost at 200, so it'd be nice if if we could hit that as soon as possible. And obviously get all of your thoughts and opinions into the comment section, along with hitting that notification bell as well. Because if you don't hit the notification bell, Mike, what does that make you?
It makes you a bellend. That's what it makes you. It
Correct. Correct. Now, as you can see, guys, Mike is back from the dead. He has been lost for a few weeks now. But how are we, mate? Now, all good.
Mate. I'm good. I'm from my deathbed. I had the worst man flu on record. I think it's been put on record that I had the worst in the history of humanity. But I'm all good now, all raring to go. But I have a bone to pick, Charlie, with you and with Isaac. I have been watching, and I have been labelled as the Patrick Bamford of the pod. Now,
I'm just saying, you have spent a lot of time in the treatment room of late, so. He's missed more podcasts than Bamford's missed games recently.
Oh, that's a low blow. That is a low blow, mate. You can call me anything, mate. You can call me anything, but Patrick Bamford, that is low. That is very, very low.
Is that like there's a line and I've just gone a
There's
little
a
bit
line. You've not just crossed it, mate. You've pole vaulted over that line. And I'll be having words with Isaac too on the next pod. I mean, Patrick Bamford, he's got hamstrings or cheese strings, and I think my vocal cords have been like cheese strings over the past week as well. So,
as Isaac said, your voice can't have been as bad as mine after the Middlesbrough game. I must admit. And hopefully, the voice will break again at Elland Road tomorrow night. I would.
The balls will drop. The balls will drop again, won't they, mate? When we get that 95th minute winner.
I would happily take that. But as you can see, guys, Isaac is not with us. I believe Daniel Farker is running low on food in the loft, so he's had to nip out and just do him a quick food shop. I believe there was a lot of cake on the list.
Actimel as well.
A little bit of Muller Lite, Actimel, whatever it is.
I think Daniel Farks. Do you think he's took Isaac hostage now? Do you think it's the old switcheroo?
Maybe, yeah. You never know, do you? You never know. But hopefully Isaac will be back along with Mike tomorrow night after the game. Obviously, I will be there. So unfortunately, I won't be on, but I'm sure the lads will do a quick reaction after what hopefully will be a big 3 points under the lights. So as you probably all know, guys, we're here to preview the Sunderland game tomorrow night. Massive game. Mike, just before we get into some specifics, mate, how are we feeling about it at the minute?
I think we spoke about it off air a little bit, didn't we, Charlie, just before? And when you speak to a lot of Leeds fans and when you see a lot of Leeds fans online, there's a bit of kind of nerves and apprehension, but I'm not feeling it at all. I'm feeling, very, very confident with this game. And, it's two of the Championship heavyweights that go head to head on Monday. And I think it's going to be a really good advert for the Championship. I think both teams have abundance in attacking threat. And I think it's going to be a really good one for the neutrals. And I think it's going to be a really good one for us as well. And I think Sunderland don't strike me as a team that are going to come and sit back and park the bus like most teams we see at Elland Road. And I think that in itself is going to create chances for us. When you look at the likes of Pirro, Solomon, Dan James, who were in form of their life. And I think Sunderland have to play an exceptional game tomorrow to get anything out of that game. And I'm not feeling the nerves at all, which is a little bit straight. I think I'll be more nervous for Sheffield United, but I think if we get a win tomorrow, I think I'll be a little bit less nervous about that game, mate. But what about yourself?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same as you. I think if we can get 3 points in this one tomorrow, I think the pressure will be eased slightly going into that Sheffield United game. And, I think I said off air, and I think you agreed as well. I think a minimum of 4 points out of the next two. I think that's the worst case scenario. I can't see us losing either of them.
No, I agree.
But this game tomorrow, I mean, as you've said, it's two of the best teams in the division at the minute. Both got some really, really good players amongst the ranks, obviously. For Sunderland, the likes of Joe Bellingham, there's Wilson Isidore, there's obviously Enzo Leffi,
Enzo Lepipe.
Who actually did score in their last game, I believe.
You know what? If he scores against us, I'm going to have to eat some real humble pie.
Yeah, you won't be able to live it down, will you? No.
To be fair, he had quite a slow start, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think the first 2 or 3 games, he didn't really do much. But I watched the Sunderland and Middlesbrough game, and he really stood out for me in that game. Well, 2 things stood out. The fact that he played really well, and the fact that Luke Ayling legs have absolutely gone. He got terrorised in that game.
He gave Luke Ayling a torrid time in that game from what I saw. He really did. But yeah, as you've said, mate, I think for the neutral it'll be a really good game. And I'm there's obviously a little bit of nerves there because it is a big game, but the major feeling I'm feeling is just excitement. I said off air, I think the atmosphere will be unbelievable. I think Sunderland will obviously pack that away end out, so I think they'll bring their vocals with them, so to speak, as well. So yeah, I'm obviously really excited for it. But let's just I mean, I was having a look at both teams' form, obviously, coming into this, and Sunderland's form is very strange in the league. So in their last 6 games, they've won, drawn, won, drawn, won, drawn. So it's very obviously it isn't all over the place because there isn't a defeat in there, but it is a bit inconsistent. And as you said off air, they are conceding goals as well as scoring as well. But obviously that's something that Leeds just aren't doing at the minute. I don't think we've not conceded in the league since the blunders against Hull. So, and then if you compare it to our form, in our last 6, we've won 5 and drawn 1, and that was the horrid game against Burnley. So, I mean, obviously it's plain and obvious that Leeds are in the better form going into this, but I still don't think we should be underestimating Sunderland, do you?
No, definitely not. I think a bit like you as well, Charlie. I've had a look at the recent results, and they've not lost many recently. But the thing that stands out for me is that they're conceding quite a lot at the moment. I looked at they've conceded 2 against Watford, they conceded 2 against Middlesbrough, they conceded 2 against Plymouth as well. And I like to have a little look on Twitter. I like to look before we play a team. I like to look at what their fans are saying on Twitter as well. And I think a big thing that stands out for me is that a lot of them are saying that they struggle to finish teams off. I think they get in a position where they're leading a game and they either don't kill it off or they're conceding late in a game. So I think when you weigh up the 2 sides, I think the big thing for us is, I think, they've got some great attacking players, but they don't have that killer instincts that we've got. And I think that'll probably be the difference in the game tomorrow. And I think that's where we'll get the win, Charlie.
Yeah, and it's interesting to look at it from kind of their point of view as well, because I think it's fair to say they need this win more than us. Well, I mean, it'd be nice for Leeds to obviously get this win because it'll put us 7 points clear of the playoffs, and it will be a big win for us if we get it over the line. But I think it'll be a bigger win for them if they're able to get it done. But I think, like you've said, they are conceding goals, but I think that's due to the fact that they are quite expansive with how they play, and it's a little bit free flowing in a similar way to what we are at the minute as well. So I think that's what I mean, and I think you meant when you said for the neutral it will be a good game, because I think it could turn into a basketball match. But to play devil's advocate, do you think they could look at it and maybe come in and try and frustrate Leeds? Do you think they're going to sit and hope to catch us on the counter, or do you think they actually will come out and bring the game to us, which I think will play into our advantage if they do that?
Yeah, I don't see him doing that at all. I don't see him sitting back. I think I don't think that they're really set up for that. When you look at the players that they've got, obviously you've got Enzo Lepipe, they've got him, they've got Patrick Roberts, they've got Joe Bellingham, who I think he's missed the last
Chris Rigg as well.
None of them players are players that look to sit back and get men behind the ball. Even if you look at the fullbacks as well, Hume and Sirkin, they're very attacking fullbacks as well. So I can't see them sitting behind as well. And I think the fact that they're going to come and play that brand of football where they're going to try and go toe to toe with us, I think that'll perfectly work in our favour, and I think that'll be where the game's won for us. I don't see it whatsoever. I don't see him sitting back at all.
I don't, in all honesty, and in a way, I hope they don't, because, like you say, I think it'll play to our advantage massively. And as you've said there, I don't think they've got the players that are capable to come to Elland Road and sit in and park the bus. I think we'd just pick them off even more, if I'm being honest. But obviously, we will discuss Enzo LUFC just briefly, because they've got a fullback that's coming back into this game. I think is it Mundell? Now, a lot of the talk due to that is that Enzo LUFC will go centrally, because I think he's been playing out wide over the last few games.
Out left,
now, that would mean, obviously, he would come up against Ayo Tanaka. So that'll be an interesting battle, won't it, mate?
Yeah, it will. It will. And I think that's, again, I've been kind of following what Sunderland fans have been saying about LUFC, and I think that's been a little bit of a gripe of theirs, that they've been playing him on the left-hand side of midfield, I think, for pretty much every game, and they want to see him in that central position. So I don't know whether their manager does that in this game or whether he sticks with what's kind of been working over the last few games. I think if they put him centrally, it's a little bit of a change in formation for them, or a change in approach, how they play the game. And I don't know if their manager's brave enough to do that at Elland Road. So it wouldn't surprise me if he continues to be on that left-hand side, because I think even, you know, I've been quite vocal in my kind of ribbing of Sunderland and Enzo LUFC, but he's a really good player. And I think
he is.
He's a really good player. So I think we've really got to be on our game. And I think if he does go central, I think we might see him stick with Gurev in midfield, but I just don't see him. I don't see him gambling. I see him sticking to a similar lineup as to what they've been playing recently.
Yeah, and I would say that I think LUFC is probably their biggest threat in their team, maybe alongside the likes of, obviously, Isidore and Joe Bellingham. Obviously, they have got other good players in that
Roberts
forward
as
area,
well.
like
Patrick
Roberts, Chris Rigg, players like that. Yeah, but I think, I mean, could it be approach from Farke to maybe try and maybe man-mark LUFC out of the game, maybe just stick Tanaka or Ampadu maybe on him and just say, just don't let him out of your sight? I don't know. Is that paying them too much respect maybe? Who knows? But obviously you've just briefly touched upon it there as to say that he might go with Gruev in the midfield. Now, obviously, we will do as predicted 11 towards the end, but I think he brings Pascal back in for this one. Just a spoiler alert for the predicted 11. I think he will do that. So I think it will be Ampadu and Tanaka in that midfield. Now, I mean, I would be more than happy with that, but the recent away games show that, again, I have to eat a little bit of humble pie here about Gruev, but again, I'm not saying he's done anything special. He's not set the world alight, but I think it does seem to be a good approach to play Gruev in away games, don't you think?
Yeah. I think he adds a little bit more stability in that central midfield. I think, although Rothwell's, been playing really well in centre midfield, I think he gives you that. He's a little bit of an insurance policy, and you know what you're going to get from him. He's not going to venture too far forward. He's not going to be too, do anything dangerous with the ball. He's going to keep it simple. He's going to, get stuck into tackles, and he's going to keep it very simple. And that seems to work away from home. But I'm going to actually counter what you think, Charlie. I think he's going to play Gurev. I think because he's been playing past few games, and I think we as a rule, you don't really change your winning side, do you? So I think
he'll stick with Ampadu at centre back then.
I think he will. Yeah. I think because those Rodon and Ampadu have been playing so well together, I don't think he'll want to disrupt that. And then I'll think as well, because Tanaka and Gurev have been playing well together, and I think he might not want to disrupt that either. It's harsh on Rothwell because he's been really good for us, but I think he won't change your winning side, in my opinion.
It is harsh, but it's a really good headache for Farke to have, isn't it? And 100%. I'll be honest, mate, I semi-agree with what you've said there, I think all I'm saying is I think if he is to make a change, I think it will be that he puts Pascal in. If there's a change to be made, I think he'll do that. But it wouldn't surprise me if obviously come 7 o'clock tomorrow night, the lineup's out and it's exactly the same. I would be more than happy with that based on the recent form. But can we just have a chat about Dan James just for just a minute or two? Because I mean, the guy is yeah. I mean, I think Isaac said on I think maybe it might have been the last pod or a few pods ago that I'm just running out of things to say about Dan James at the minute. Obviously, you've not been on for a while, mate. So just talk to us about Dan James over the last few games, especially. Just been unreal, hasn't he?
He's just been an absolute joke. I think he's been so good, and I think he's actually been in form of his career. Where you look at where he's been, at Swansea, at Man United, obviously with us, and I think he set the bar so high last season as well. He was brilliant last season, and I didn't think he could get any better than that last season. And he seems to have stepped it up even more. And I think for me, what's kind of stood out for me is, when you lose the likes of Somerville and Rutter, and for me, he's really stepped up and really filled that void of missing Somerville and those goals and that individual brilliance that he can provide. He's been by far my favourite player this season, and I'm really, really, really happy for him as well, because I think, when he won't tread well at Leeds, I think especially under Jesse Marsh, when he got farmed out to Fulham and then came back, and some players could have come back and down tools and had their head up their arse a little bit and thought, they've pissed me about here, so I'm just gonna, I'm not going to put the effort in, I'm going to down tools. But for me, it's just kind of he stepped up even more, and that's what stood out for me this season, as well as his, we've said it a few times, haven't we? His end product has improved so much.
It's improved so much, hasn't it? It's unbelievable now.
He's clinical, and that's a word that you don't always put with Dan James over the past few years. No. He's been absolutely clinical in front of goal. 9 times out of 10, he's finishing it. So he's.
I would personally argue at the minute that we're actually a better all-round team than the squad we had last season. Do you tend to agree with that?
I agree with 100%, mate. I think last season sometimes we had to rely on individual brilliance, didn't we? Somerville or Rutter pulling us out of a hole with individual, but now it's more of a collective balance, isn't it? Yeah, we're getting goals from all over the pitch. I think last season Somerville, what were it, 22, 23 goals, and then players are, Rutter didn't score many, Pirro didn't score many, so we really had to rely on Somerville. And I think now we're seeing more players chip in, and it's more of a balanced squad. It's a stronger squad, and at the start of the season when them two went, you wouldn't have thought we'd be saying this, would you?
No. I agree, mate. I agree. I mean, Joe Pirro is on 14 goals now, and he finished last season on 14, so he's probably going to obviously better his record from last season, which is amazing, really, for a player who at times can be so frustrating to watch. But I think even him, I think that the whole starting 11 at the minute, as you've said, I think it's just so much just clicked into place, and it's just so free flowing. But just to go back to Sunderland briefly, obviously, we've already discussed Enzo Lefebvre. But obviously their top goal scorer is Isidore. He's scored 11 this season. So again, I think if you can maybe nullify that threat of obviously him and Enzo Lefebvre, I think we'll be all right in this game. Like I've said, they've got other players in that forward area that can hurt us, but I think they're probably going to be the main standouts for me. Maybe Joe Bellingham to a degree, but I think the likes of Joe Rodon, Ethan Ampadu at the minute, I think are performing really well as well. Kind of going a bit under the radar because of how well that obviously the likes of Dan James and Solomon are doing. But I think they've defended so well. And I mean, there is someone else who I think over the last few games, you have to give credit where it's due. Illan Meslier, for me, has improved a lot over the last few games. Some really good saves at Coventry. There was some decent saves as well away at Watford. Now, we all know what happened the last time that Leeds played Sunderland.
I'm trying to block that out, Charlie boy. I'm trying to block that one out, mate.
I mean, the only reason that I could block it out so easily is that I was in Mexico on that night, so I could easily get over it within about an hour. But
did you get the tequilas down you, Charlie, just to black it all out?
I needed a few that night after watching that in a bar that had Sunderland fans in it as well, so that made it even better. But joking apart, it'd be good, I think, for his kind of, just mental state as well at the if he can put in a good performance in a big game, because no disrespect to the likes of Coventry, because just a little sidetrack for a minute, they've actually, I think they've won all their games since we beat them. They're actually quite in good form. But and I think Watford beat Borough yesterday, didn't they? So again, but no disrespect to the likes of Watford and Coventry, but this game tomorrow is a massive game compared to those. So if Meslier can have a good game in this one, I think it would just boost his confidence right up, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And like you say, I think we've been quite vocal in as criticism of Meslier, and rightly so, because he has made some absolute howlers. But credit where credit's due. I think since the whole game, probably he has kind of stepped up a little bit. That Coventry game, obviously that header down at his near post where they managed to claw that out, that was a world class save. And I think if you've got to be, if you're vocal in your criticism, you've got to be vocal in your kind of praise and admiration as well. So and, we all want as players to do well, don't we? So I think the past few games has done his confidence the world of good, and I think that mistake against Sunderland, they were just a freak, and I don't think we'll see. Fingers crossed, I don't think we'll see out like that again. But I think just to speak about the game as well, I just wanted your opinion on this. Not just this game, but also the Sheffield United game. It's these two games have been kind of, there's a term that's been bandied about, which is season defining. Now, do you think both of these games are season defining for us? I think if we win them both, in my opinion, if we win both them games, that is season defining, because I think it puts some real distance between us and the chasing pack. But I think if one of the results don't go for us, I don't think it is season defining. But it's been used a lot, I think, on social media, that phrase. What's your thoughts on it, Charlie?
It is a good one. It is a good question, because it is tough, isn't it? Because there's still, even if you take those, even if you take these two games out of the way, there's still 12 games left after that. So there's still a lot of football left to be played. But I'm going to say it with my chest. I think we win the next two games anyway. But I think even if we get 4 points out of the next two, I think it is season defining. But if we win the next two games,
it's curtains for everyone else, isn't it? Really chasing us. I'd say so.
I don't want to jinx it, but again, don't come at me, guys, if obviously the game doesn't go well or anything tomorrow. But if we win the next two games, for me, that means we are all but up, in my opinion. Because I just think the form we're in now anyway is so good. But then if you add 2 wins against these teams in particular on top of that, and again, I'm not saying that there might be. There probably will be a defeat from now till end of the season. It's the Championship.
We're not going to win every game, are we?
Absolutely not. But I think if we win the next two, as you say, we'll be 7 points clear of the playoffs at the best. And then I think if a minor blip did come, like a freak result did come,
it'd be like somewhere again.
We've got that cushion then. But the thing I'm saying is that if we get these 2 wins done, at least if we did get beat in a freak game or whatever, like a freak result happened, at least we've got that cushion. And it won't, I don't think the fan base would panic as much, mate, personally.
No, I totally agree with you. I think if we beat Sunderland tomorrow, that's a big statement. And it's a big, the points between us and Burnley. What was it, 7 points?
If we win tomorrow, yeah.
If we win tomorrow, yeah. I think that's a big statement. And I think if we beat Sunderland as well, and I think if it's a convincing win, we're only going to be full of confidence for that Sheffield United game. Because as well, if you look at Sheffield United, how they've been playing recently, yes, they've been winning games, but they've been scraping some late wins. I mean, who did they play? Who did they play? Was it Luton?
It was yesterday they played Luton. Yeah, I actually watched quite a bit of that game, and they were crap.
Yeah,
with Sheffield United. And again, this isn't me being, bitter or anything. Like, fair play to them.
Well, I agree.
They managed to get it over the line, but Luton absolutely peppered them in that first half. It should have been 2 or 3-0 to Luton. They hit the woodwork at one point. And then, fair play to Sheffield United. They managed to get the win, but I think Sheffield United, if we win this game tomorrow fairly convincingly, they'll be very nervous for us to come to Bramall Lane, because again, they won't do a Burnley at Bramall Lane. I don't think Sheffield United, they'll come out and play like they will, because their fans won't stand for it. Burnley are just doing a absolute madness at the minute. I watched the majority of their game against Preston as well, and it was so awful to watch. Like, fair play to them. They actually did have a few decent chances, which they did scuff, in fairness. But, I mean, if any team's going to fall away out of that 4 at the minute, it's Burnley with the results they're putting in, mate.
Yeah, they're absolutely dull as dishwater, aren't they? I've been seeing some of their games lately. But you know what? What wouldn't surprise me is they would they go up through playoffs them just by playing some horrible football.
I was thinking, sorry to cut you off, I was thinking yesterday, if they get to the playoff final, they'll win it on penalties.
Yes, I was about to say
it'll just go all the way, and they'll win it on penalties because of Trafford or something. 100%.
Yeah. They'll just absolutely sweat the way till final, and they won't play any sort of attractive football, and they'll go up like you say on penalties. And I think for me, I know we're playing them tomorrow, and not to praise opponents too much, but from the playoffs, I'd probably like to see Sunderland go up out of them all, to be fair, because I think the fact that they've got a brilliant fan base, and I think their fan base deserves
a good footballing team as well, to be fair. They are a good side.
Well. They are a good side, and I think they play good football. They've got some great fans, and if I were rooting for a team in playoffs, I'd probably root for Sunderland as well. And I think it's probably make or break for them this season a little bit as well, because they've got some really, really good players. And I think if they don't go up this season, I think it'll be a bit of a, I think they'll get stripped of some assets, and I think they'll have to kind of restart a little bit.
Yeah, and I do think as well that if we beat them tomorrow, I think it'll be a very tough ask for them to get into that top 2. So I think they'll probably just be happy to take the playoffs, because, as you say, I think in those teams that are in the playoffs at the minute, so obviously Burnley, Sunderland, is it West Brom and Blackburn at the minute?
Yeah.
They're definitely the best team out of that pack for me. I know that Burnley are above them, but I mean, how I do not know. But as I've said, they are a good footballing team, and to go back to a point that we both made earlier, that's why I don't think they'll come and sit in tomorrow. I think they will come and play and try and impose their game on us. But like I said, that will suit us down to the ground, because from their point of view, they can either sit back and I still think we'll break them down, or they can come and play, and I think we'll even more so break them down.
Catch them on counter.
So either way, I think it'll suit us regardless, because I think we're a lot better at breaking down the low block this season. But I'll be honest, I'm excited for a good game. I think it will be a good game. Again, I think we'll do score predictions in a little bit, but I do think both teams will score in this game. I do.
Yeah.
But predicted 11s, then I think we've already pretty much said you think it'll be the same team that's been doing the business of late.
Yeah.
I kind of agree. I semi-agree, but the one point I will make is if there is a change, I think it will be Pascal that comes in, and Ampadu will drop in to the midfield. But again, as you've said, and I do agree with this sentiment, why change a winning team? So, Yeah, I do think it'll be the same. Obviously, he'll have Melier, so obviously Bogle, Rodon, let's say Ampadu, and obviously Junior Firpo, Gruev and Tanaka, James, the Rat, and
Speed the rat.
Solomon, and obviously the Spliffmeister general up top. And yeah, like I said, that wouldn't surprise me, and I would be completely fine with that. And maybe the fact that it's such a big game, is it a risk to put Pascal back into a big game like this? Maybe that's what he could look at. But as you've said, mate, I think it probably will be unchanged, and I'd be more than happy with that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think exactly. I think it's going to be exact same. One thing I will say though is, if we do get a penalty, I don't want Stroik taking a penalty anymore because it's just he's
no centre backs on penalties, please.
No centre backs on penalties. I think I'd obviously
I'd rather bring Bamford on for it.
Yeah, obviously, if Pirro's on pitch, he's got to be a penalty taker, hasn't he? Because he's so clinical. But if he's not on pitch, I'd even have Dan James taking him, anything like that. But I don't
any of the forward players, just any of the forward players. Solomon, anyone, even Matty Joseph. Why not?
Yeah,
just Matty Joseph.
League Two Joseph.
League Two, Matty.
Get him on then, but yeah, mate. You know, I'm really excited for tomorrow, and I don't know if it's me
all
being.
I'm going to be thinking about at work tomorrow. It's all I'm going to be thinking about.
And like we said earlier, I think the atmosphere is going to be electric as well, because I think Sunderland always bring a good following. They're going to be very noisy. They're going to be very vocal. And I think Leeds will just look to match that as well. And if we win, I think I predict a riot. He'll get bust out and everything.
All I will say is that my balls will drop once again if we win this game tomorrow, because, as you've said, and the more I think about it since you've said it, the more I do tend to agree. I think these next two are season defining for me, like they are, because games are running out now. I know there's still going to be 12 left after we've played these two, and again, I'm not overlooking this one tomorrow night, but obviously I'm thinking in advance for Sheffield United as well. I genuinely think if we win this one tomorrow, then I think we'll just go to Bramall Lane with bags of confidence, with a spring in our step, and the likes of Gus Hamer, Callum O'Hare, Ben Brereton Diaz, Tom Cannon. I mean,
who
were they?
Yeah, who are they?
I mean, they came to Elland Road and looked bang average earlier on in the season as well.
Who were poor,
albeit it did change a lot of their team that night, which I did find a bit weird. But again,
their fans weren't happy with him, were they? After that, they said he
really won't.
Yeah, I think his arse fell out a little bit, and he overthought it and tried to get too tactical and
He's tried to be nice to us in the build-up though to this, hasn't he? He's tried to be nice to us, saying, I think he said that obviously there's a lot of people saying that Leeds are going to win the league, and I tend to agree, and I'm like, mate, you don't agree at all. Like, just shut up.
He must think we're fucking stupid, mustn't he? He thinks.
Do you really think?
Put it this way: when it comes to mind games, he's no Alex Ferguson, is he? We can see straight through what he's trying to do, and I think it's going to take more than a few little, heaping praise here and there to put us off our stride. So I think he can play his little mind games as much as he wants, because we're in too good of a form to let frigging Amface try and put us off track with a little bit of praise. So he can keep trying. It's not going to be anything.
Yeah, fuck him, innit? Fuck him. But let's finish on some score predictions then, mate. It is that time, I'm afraid. It is that time.
Shall I go?
I'll ask you first. Yeah, go on. I'm interested to see what you think. Because there's not a lot between these teams, to be fair, at the minute.
There's not. I'm going to go 3-1, I think. I agree with you, Charlie. I think we are going to concede. And I think maybe we might get a tight first half where it's 1-1, and I think we'll pull away towards the end of the game. So I'm going to go 3-1, and I'm going to go for goal scorers. I'm going to go Spliffmeister General. I'm going to go Dan James, obviously, because he just can't stop scoring.
No, obviously.
And I'm going to feed the rat, mate. I think the rat's going to get involved. I think he's.
Well, that's very interesting, Mike, because on my notes here for my score prediction, I've also gone 3-1.
Have you? Great minds think alike, Charlie boy.
And we nearly had all the same goal scorers as well.
I bet
Nearly.
you didn't have the rat, did you?
No, I didn't have the rat. No,
Yeah.
I've gone James, Perot, and Solomon to
Yeah.
score.
The
And
lethal front three.
and for Sunderland, just to wind you up a little bit, I've gone with
God, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
I've
You
gone
can
with
just see
Liffey.
it, can't you? You can just see Enzo Lafille put them 1-0 up, and then I'll be
But
getting
yeah, I mean, as we've said, mate, just to finish this video, obviously, I am excited for this game. I think it'll be a great game for the neutral. Two top teams at this level. Two good coaches, I think, with two good sets of players. And it'll definitely be interesting to watch. Obviously, I will be there tomorrow night, guys, so I won't be on the match reaction tomorrow night. But as far as I'm aware, Mike and Isaac will be live after the game to give you their thoughts. And then on Tuesday, obviously, I will be back then. And I've heard back from the boys at Only Leeds Bros today. They will be joining us on Tuesday night, so I'm excited for that. And then, we'll obviously, absolutely. And then we'll hopefully have a meltdowns towards the end of the week. And then it'll be this time next week, we'll be gearing up for a trip to Bramall Lane and we'll be doing it all over again.
We're gearing up for promotion, mate. Before we end it, okay,
go on.
I've got a little bit of trivia for you here, Charlie boy. A little bit of trivia for you. So I was looking at Leeds and Sunderland earlier on today, and it popped into my head. Any players that have played for both Leeds and Sunderland? Now, it surprised me quite a bit because there's quite a lot of players that have played for both teams. So, can you name 3, Charlie? Can you name 3?
I saw that the club tweeted it out earlier, didn't there? Something about
what have that
players that have played. Yeah, I have. I didn't look at it, but it just made me think.
Come on,
I promise you, I haven't. But one person replied and put Ilan Melier. I found it hilarious.
I like that.
God, can I name 3?
You know what? There's going to be a few. Like when I looked at it earlier on today, I did a little quick Google search and I thought, are you looking through a list? And there's a lot. And I'm like,
I'll be honest. I don't even think I can name. I don't even think I can name one off the top of my head.
Okay, so we're going to start with. I'll give you a clue. We plays for Ipswich now.
Oh yeah, Clark. Jack Clark. Jack Clark.
So there's also. Do you want me a real fruit list? There's quite a few.
Yeah, go on.
So Michael Bridges.
Oh yeah,
Michael Bridges. Ian Hart.
Did he play for Sunderland?
Ian Hart played for Sunderland as well. Yeah. We've got Michael Gray, the left back, who were at Leeds for a short while.
Might be before my time, that.
Yeah, I'm showing my age now, aren't I, mate? So, Dominic Matteo played for Sunderland for a little bit.
Did he?
Right. He did, mate. He did. Obviously, we've got Jack Clark. Then we've got Matthew Kilgallen. He played for Sunderland.
Yeah, briefly remember that. Yeah,
I couldn't believe how many there were. Joe Geldart, obviously. Gelhart for a short while.
Yeah.
Again, show me. Remember Liam Bridcut that we had in centre midfield for a little bit. He played for showing me age. David Healy, the Northern Ireland striker. He played for Sunderland as well.
I didn't realise there were so many, to be honest.
Paul Butler, that big frigging unit that we had at centre back in League One. El Hadj Diouf.
I know him.
El Hadj Diouf played for Sunderland for a little bit as well.
Oh God, yeah.
So the list.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. And if anyone in the comments can think of any more, then drop them in. I'm sure that there'll be people that are of Mike's age or a bit older that I might know a little bit more. But yeah, like I say, guys, I really enjoyed this one. Obviously, thank you to Mike for joining me as always.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you for having me. I know I've been poorly, but unlike Patrick Bamford, I will be back fitter, stronger than ever. All right, mate.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully a bit fitter than what Pat Bamford is, but yeah.
What's that? Do a little bit.
Yeah, and. As we say, guys, big fingers crossed for tomorrow night. Hopefully,
we're gonna do it.
It is a massive 3 points, and then hopefully we follow it up at Bramall Lane. But yeah, like we say, guys, make sure that you are liking, commenting, and subscribing. And Mike and Isaac will see you after the game tomorrow. Cheers.
Come on, Leeds.